Hey everyone, welcome to Bad Beat Sports Betting Week 14. Steve and I are coming off a very good Week 13. Got our records back around 500 after a bad Week 12. Looking to carry some momentum into this week. How you feeling, Steve?
Doing all right. Yeah, not starting off so well though. I really thought the Pats were gonna. I not only like I took the Pats to cover, but I honestly thought they were gonna win. I thought Belichick and Cam were cooking up something, but I guess I was wrong. Should not have doubted the Rams.
Yeah, I picked the Rams just because I like them this season, but I was a little bit afraid because Belichick's record in December is pretty unmatched from any other coach. But it's a different team this year. Cam doesn't look good, I think. I don't know if he's going to be a starting quarterback again in this league
Nah.
after this season.
What would you feel about Carson Wentz to the Pats if the Eagles were to move on from him?
That's one rumor that's heating up,
And I saw
and also
Steelers.
Sam Darnold to the Pats is starting to heat up.
I've also seen Wentz to the Steelers.
Yeah, yeah. The Pats and the Steelers are the two, and the Bears are the three teams that people are placing quarterbacks now. I just don't know if Belichick would do it with the cap with Wentz's cap hit.
Yeah.
Because he's never really had to pay. Even when Tom Brady was doing his thing, Brady always took pay cuts to have a good team around him. But I think Wentz could still start for teams. I think.
Oh, for sure. I think
he just got stale with Peterson as the coach and a bad offensive line.
I think it's a lot of that. I think there's still a lot of good left in Wentz, even if he stays on the Eagles and they get a coaching change.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'll be interesting to see if Peterson does get relieved, even though he won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. I guess 3 years ago now. But Philly fans are pretty impatient. I guess we'll get to that game soon because I have a bold pick. I didn't look at yours, but I think you might agree with me.
Yeah, I think I do.
We'll start with the Giants. They're -3 at home against the Cardinals. This is easy. This is an easy bet for me. Giants are 8-2 as underdogs this season against the spread, of course. They haven't won 8 games.
Yeah.
But +3, I think, is easy for the Giants. They're at home. They're going the right way. The Cardinals are going the wrong direction. Cardinals play in a dome stadium, warm weather. They're coming to New York where the weather's been pretty iffy the last couple days. So I think the Giants will take care of business. Joe Judge gets his second signature win in second straight week.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make a pick, but I agree with that. I think the Giants are a safe bet for most of their games. I think they will wind up going 2-2 at worst in their final stretch.
Yeah, I agree. Their defense is solid, and Wayne Gallman is gonna get paid after this off season. Then we got this game has major playoff implications because the team that loses might have a tough time sneaking into the playoffs in the NFC. We got Bucks 6.5-point favorites against the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I think we agree on this one. I'm taking the Vikings to at least cover.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Bucks are another team that
very.
I mean, we've been saying it most of the season that they just don't. They've had flashes because they have so much talent. They just don't seem like they're a cohesive unit. Like there's a little piece missing. Maybe it's coaching.
I think it's coaching.
I think that the Vikings will kind of run it down their throat and at least stay in the game. 6.5 points is a lot against a good team.
I think it's just the way they're utilizing Tom Brady. Sometimes I think they have all the talent. The Bucks.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, one of the most studded receiving cores in the league, probably. Tom Brady's proven he's still a good quarterback for the most part.
And I think this game will be pretty high scoring because it's Kirk Cousins and Brady have been better in 1 o'clock games than in the afternoon or at night this season. So we're both on the same page there. Then we got Broncos at Panthers. Panthers are 2.5-point favorites. They have 8 players on the COVID list this week, and I think they fined 5 more for not following the protocols. This game feels like a Broncos win to me. Yeah. I'm taking the 2.5 points.
And I think McCaffrey was questionable last time I checked on this game. which was a huge factor in me picking the Broncos.
Yeah, I don't think they ruled him out, but I think he got downgraded to doubtful, at least in fantasy football. I'm playing Jimmy this week, so
Okay, so that
been monitoring that pretty closely. But yeah, I think it just feels like a game This is a game that the Broncos win, coming off of playing the Chiefs pretty tightly last Monday night, or I think it was Sunday night actually. It was a primetime game. They played them pretty close. So yeah, Broncos plus 2.5 is what I'm liking there. Texans at Bears. Texans are 1.5 point favorites on the road. I don't know. The
is a
Bears.
tough game.
What's up?
Tough game to pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I don't have much confidence in the Texans as a team, so I'm going to go with the Bears plus 1.5. I don't think the Bears are going to lose out. They just have too talented a defense. I think Akeem Hicks is back. I think he's still on the injury report, but I think he's playing, which is big in the middle of that defense. So I'm taking the Bears 1.5 points at home.
I'm just fed up with the Bears. I've believed in them a lot this season, and every time I bet on them, they just spit in my face. I'm going Texans here.
Good call. This one we're going with our number one rule, Chiefs at Dolphins. 7.5 points is kind of high considering how the Dolphins have been playing, but again, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think it's high, but we've just seen, like, even against good teams, how the Chiefs can just score at will at times, and that's, like, the main reason why I don't really bet against them.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't. I think, like I said, I think it will be a little over a touchdown game where the Chiefs will fulfill that, but I don't think it's not going to be a blowout the way the Dolphins have been playing.
Yeah, they've been pretty good against the spread this season too, as we've noted in past weeks. Cowboys at Bengals.
Kind of a fun game.
Is that sarcastic?
Not really. I'll tell you why I think it's a fun game. I'm picking the Cowboys to cover that because it's the Andy Dalton revenge game.
That's what I was gonna say. Big Andy Dalton revenge.
That's why it's
game.
A little fun game.
3.5 point favorites on the road. Yeah, I just think that they're gonna cover. Dalton looked good against. Was their last game Thanksgiving?
The Cowboys.
Yeah.
No, the Ravens on Tuesday.
Right. So yeah, they haven't looked good in the last 2 games. So I don't know what I was gonna say, but I think that it's a bounce back spot in Cincinnati for Andy Dalton and the Cowboys. Titans at Jaguars, 7.5 points as a road favorite inside of the division. Titans are good. They didn't really come through for us last week. We thought it was going to be the Derrick Henry show. It really wasn't. I think that the Jags will cover the 7.5 point number.
Yeah, I'm fully with you on there. I think, as I said, with the way the Titans played last week, I think they squeak out with a win against the Jaguars. But on the road in the division and the way they just got their butts handed to them last week, as much I hate betting against the Titans, but I just could not bet. I could not take that 7.5 Titans spread after what they did last week.
Yeah, I agree. And the Jags played well. They almost squeaked out their second win against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm hoping for the Jags to pick up one more win because I want the Jets to be able to beat the Patriots week 17 like nothing else. Speaking of the Jets, that's our next game. 0-12 Jets minus Greg Williams because he got relieved of his duties this week against the Seahawks, coming off what probably is the most surprising loss of their season so far against the Giants, where their offense was held to only 12 points or 10 because there was a safety.
Yes.
Jets are 13.5 point underdogs, not the biggest of the season. What are you thinking?
I think that's too big of a spread, and I know it's the Jets, but I think, again, the Giants are a better team than their record says, and the Jets probably are what their record says, but I think the Seahawks are not good enough for that 13.5 spread.
Yeah, I agree with you. The one thing, I'm not going to make a pick, but the stat I have is Seattle's 2-8 against the spread when they're
Yeah.
at least 7-point favorites,
And,
and they have 4 outright losses in those games.
and,
But
and
I'm not gonna say the Jets are gonna win,
no. Jets
but
are
I
on
think that
the
they'll cover. The
Jets are
coaching
on what, a
staff
three
was
game?
very upset about that loss.
I think the Jets are on a 3 game covering streak too, I believe, or at least 2 game. I mean, I know they covered last week. I thought they
I
were
know
gonna flip
they've been covering a lot recently. I think they're up to 4 on the
Yeah,
season.
and I think they're gonna keep the trend up. I don't think they'll
Yeah,
win, but I think they'll cover.
and I think that we'll see some fire out of the Jets because the players and coaches were all upset at the zero blitz call. And I think that they really wanted that win. No one wants to be 0-16. No one wants that on their resume. We'll go next to Oakland, where we have the Colts 3-point favorites going into not Oakland anymore, Las Vegas, that new stadium. This game, another game, winner has a fast track to the playoffs, and in the Colts' case, a division title, while the loser is going to have to fight it out with the Ravens for that last playoff spot.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts here. The Raiders, they're just not looking good in my opinion. The past 3 games now, or 2 games, they really shouldn't have even won last week. And the Colts, I think, have been heating up a little bit. I think these are two teams on the hunt, but going in separate directions. The Colts are heating up while the Raiders are cooling down. I'm going to take the Colts to cover that 3-point spread.
Yeah, I agree. The Colts have looked, even Phillip Rivers has looked very good, mostly with checkdowns and quick passes. Last week it was the T.Y. Hilton, but in past weeks it's been Michael Pittman. So I think that offense is coming together, and their defense is starting to get healthy. So I think they're 7-2 in the past 9 games as a favorite against the spread. So I think that they'll continue that, and also 4-0 against the spread as a road favorite, which is interesting. So I think that they improve that to 5-0 and cover the 3-point spread. Saints at Philadelphia. The Eagles obviously in a tailspin. Taysom Hill has, I'm going to say, proven me wrong with the 3-0 record. Last week he did it with his arm to add to the ground game that he was working with the last 2 weeks. But I think that the Eagles cover the 7 points.
Me too.
I kind of fall into the trap sometimes of wanting to pick new quarterbacks and new head coaches. But I do think that Jalen Hurts will give them a little bit of a spark and make this game interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually interested to see how Hurts plays, and even though I'm getting proven wrong each time, but Taysom Hill, just like you, I still just don't believe in him as the guy for the Saints. I think the Eagles will keep this one close, and I think they're gonna play with a little fire now too.
Yeah, I agree.
Watching your former franchise quarterback get benched for someone new usually lights a little spark in you. I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Shows no one's job's safe.
Even in that second half against the Packers, where they staged a little mini comeback until Aaron Jones put the game away, there was a kick return, and the defense looked like it had more life, like they believed that they weren't going to be back on the fields in 3 plays. Speaking of the Packers at Detroit Lions last week. I picked the Packers probably for the first time this season. I'm going back to my old ways. Lions plus 7.5 at home. Since the start of the 2017 season, Detroit is 6-1 ATS against Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm not picking the Lions. I've been rolling the dice on the Packers all year. It's been paying off. I just have no belief in the Lions. I really don't. For whatever reason, I can't bring myself up to put any more bets on them. The way every time I bet on them, it comes back to haunt me. And I think the Packers also need to take care of business this week.
Yeah, the 1 seed is important this year, so the Packers, it's in their best interest to keep on playing and try to edge out the Saints. Make it so that the Saints can't coast to that 1 seed and the only bye. I don't. I should have looked this up before, but I think if the Lions win, they have a mini shot at a playoff spot. But
With the expanded wild card, I believe they are still in the wild card hunt. Same with
yeah,
technically, I think both the Giants and football team could technically get a wild card spot if they don't win the division.
yeah, at like 8-8. Then we have Falcons at Chargers. This game, I kind of just want to bet on the field because it's both teams don't like to win games. They don't like to keep leads safe. But I think that the Falcons are the more experienced team and the slightly more talented team. So I think that they'll cover the 1.5 point spread in LA. But it kind of scares me that LA is coming off a 45-0 drubbing at the hands of New England.
Yeah,
But I'm
that
still going with the Falcons.
I think the Falcons will wind up covering that. It's not a huge spread, and I think the quarterback advantage to the Falcons will play in their favor.
Mm-hmm. Also, quick stat for you on this one that actually goes toward what we're saying. Since 2015, teams coming off 40-point losses are 0-6-1 against the spread in their next game. So maybe they won't be able to bounce back like we think.
Yeah, especially with a small spread like that too.
Yeah, agreed. Washington football team coming off a very impressive win against the then undefeated Steelers at 49ers. 49ers 3-point favorites.
I'm surprised. I guess because it's...
Yeah, I'm surprised too. Just like last week against the Bills, I'm taking it though. I think that the 49ers will beat the Washington football team. Might be a little bit biased in that pick, just because I want the Giants to win the division, and a loss to the 49ers would definitely make it hard for the football team to catch the Giants.
Yeah, I would love for Washington to lose this as well, since I'm a Giants fan, but I'm actually going to take Washington money line here. Honestly, I think Washington should be the favorites in the game. If that's my opinion. It's not even a real home game for the 49ers. They're going to be playing in Arizona because they're not allowed to play contact sports in their Santa Clara County right now. But yeah, I just think, especially with beating, and I know like the Steelers are probably like the most. They're not. I'm not saying they're overrated, but they were the most overrated undefeated team I've like ever seen because of their schedule. But I think Washington will take care of business, unfortunately. So I'm taking the money line.
And they've done that so far this season. They're 5-0 against the spread against teams with a losing record. So this game would fall into that category. Then we have Sunday Night Football. Steelers at Bills. Bills are 2-point favorites at home, and I love that 2 points. I think it'll be a pretty one-sided game. I don't think that the Steelers, even with James Conner back, even though I know you need him to pick up some points in fantasy, maybe
I'm not sure if I'm going to start him or Dobbins though. So.
Oh yeah, Dobbins is a good start against Cleveland, I think, but I don't think the Steelers can run the ball to beat the Bills, and that's what we've seen the teams that have beat them so far. With the exception of the Cardinals, who really shouldn't have beat them. They got a lucky Hail Mary throw to DeAndre Hopkins. The Chiefs and the Titans put out the blueprint to just run the ball up the middle against the Bills' defense. The Steelers don't have the personnel to do that. Or at least they might have the personnel, they don't have the willingness with their offensive coordinator to do that.
Yeah.
We saw Big Ben throw the ball 40 or 53 times last week against the football team, and I don't think that they're going to change that. So I think that the Bills, with their secondary, are going to have a pretty easy time with the Steelers.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm taking Bills -2, played safe, but I think the Bills will wind up walking away to win. Give the Steelers a little 2-game losing streak, undefeated to 2 losses in the matter of 2 weeks. But I think it's an important game for the Bills to win too. Even though they're going to make the playoffs regardless, I think it'd just be a little statement game for them to beat a team like the Steelers.
Yeah, for sure, especially at home in December That should be a real. Even though the Steelers play cold weather games a lot,
but it's gonna probably be cold up there tomorrow. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
will
supposed
be
to
cold.
snow even down here on Monday.
Right. Yeah, but when you're a good team, you have to defend home field against other good teams. So this will be the first step for the Bills, and that a loss for the Steelers would also keep the door open for the Browns, who play the Monday night football game against the Ravens. Ravens 2.5-point favorites on the road. It would keep the door open for the Browns to still win the division if they could take care of business at home. They lost, I think it was 37-8, something around there, when they played earlier in the season. This is a different Browns team, though. They have a completely different identity. They're ground and pounds. They're in Cleveland, where they've had a pretty distinct home field advantage, especially when there's weather, which I'm going to check while you give your take.
Yeah,
if there is weather.
I pretty much am just going to back up what you said. I think the Browns, especially after last week, it's very similar to how I felt about the Colts and Raiders. You're talking two teams in the hunt going in separate directions. The Ravens keep falling, and the Browns are playing better each week, and I like what I see from them. I think they're going to win. I'm only taking them to cover, but I honestly think they'll win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think for them, they're 9-3, which is great, and it's going to be 35 degrees tomorrow with 19-mile-per-hour winds. So it's not their worst weather of the season, but or Monday night, sorry, but it'll definitely tamper with the passing game a little bit. This is a big statement for them because they have a great record, but they haven't been able to take care of business against the Ravens and the Steelers, who are considered the giants in the division. So this is a big statement win for them if they can get it. So I'm taking the 2.5 points, but I think that the Browns come out victorious.
I think that covers our slate for the week.
Yeah, that's week 14. This is going to be a fun week.
I think so.
I think that's going to be there's a lot of games on because there's no bye weeks and no cancellations so far. Knock on wood. But
yeah, we know that could change on the dime.
It's not. There's a lot. There's 6 games at 4:00, which is a lot.
Hopefully, no last minute mid-season retirements due to a positive COVID test, like stupid Dez Bryant, Antonio Brown light.
That was crazy. He unretired though, right, during the game?
I don't even know. I read that. I was like, dude, it's literally the protocol for the season. It's a weird season. Just accept it, even if it is a false positive. What are you gonna do about it? It's a bizarre season. You just gotta accept it.
He was probably just pumped up to play against his former team, Dez Bryant revenge game. But he caught COVID. That was a funny meme that you posted.
Yeah. With he finally caught something.
And then he didn't even catch it, so it's even funny.
Another overruled touchdown.
Right.
Yeah, but any closing remarks?
Well, that's it. I'm excited for this week. And we're getting closer to playoffs. Yep. 3 weeks left after this. You just got to enjoy the football while we have it.
Yep, so good luck, and good luck to everyone else. Gamble responsibly, and we will be back next week.
Yep.